The debate stage was electric, cameras rolling, crowds buzzing, and politicians posturing. In the middle stood Tim Ramaswamy, a rising conservative star with a sharp tongue and a reputation for owning his opponents. His latest target, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, a former public defender and fierce advocate for the underprivileged. "You know," Tim sneered, glancing sideways at Jasmine, "some of us have real experience building businesses, creating jobs. And then there are people like Jasmine, who think defending criminals qualifies as leadership." The room gasped. Even the moderator blinked in disbelief. But Jasmine didn't flinch. She smiled. And what happened next would not only change the tone of the debate, but end Tim's political career forever. Jasmine adjusted the mic gently, her eyes calm but piercing. "Tim," she said softly, "I'd like to tell you a story." The room fell silent. It was my first year as a public defender in Dallas. I was assigned a case no one wanted. A teenage boy, 16 years old, charged with armed robbery. His name was Malik. Jasmine paused, letting the name settle. Everyone had written Malik off. He came from a broken home, bounced around in foster care, never knew his father. The system treated him like a number, a problem, a future inmate. She looked directly at Tim. But I saw something different. I saw a scared kid who made a stupid mistake. And I fought for him. Not because it was easy, but because it was right. Jasmine continued. We lost the case. Malik was sentenced to 5 years. I cried that night. I felt I'd failed him. But 4 years later, I got a letter. It said, "Dear Ms. Crockett, you were the first person who ever fought for me, who ever looked at me like I mattered. I'm getting out soon. I got my GED, and I want to help kids like me avoid the path I took." She paused. That boy is now a youth counselor. He saves lives every day. The audience was riveted. No shouting, no slogans, just silence, and awe. "And Tim," Jasmine added gently, "while you mock my experience, I want you to understand, leadership isn't about starting companies. It's about standing with the broken, the voiceless, the forgotten. That's what qualifies me to lead." The clip went viral, but it didn't stop there. Within days, Malik himself came forward. He posted a video, speaking directly to Tim. "You tried to reduce Ms. Crockett to a punchline, but she's the reason I'm alive today. She didn't just defend me, she believed in me when no one else did." The internet exploded. Hashtags like #JasmineWasRight and #ExperienceMatters trended worldwide. Then came the dominoes. A former campaign staffer leaked footage of Tim mocking underprivileged kids during a donor dinner. Another clip surfaced. This time, Tim laughing about how public defenders are just failed lawyers with a bleeding heart. The backlash was swift. Major donors pulled out. Endorsements vanished. Within a month, Tim suspended his campaign. His political star faded as fast as it had risen. A few weeks later, Jasmine was invited to speak at a high school in Chicago. Malik was there too. After her speech on justice, compassion, and resilience, Malik joined her on stage. The two embraced, and students stood and clapped, many wiping tears. "Ms. Crockett," Malik said into the mic, voice thick with emotion, "you didn't just defend me. You saved me. You taught me that one person can change a life, and that changed mine." The auditorium erupted. Jasmine never gloated. She never attacked Tim personally, not once. She just kept doing the work. Serving, listening, fighting for the ones most people forget. And in doing so, she reminded a divided country that leadership isn't about applause or applause lines. It's about impact. It's about kindness. It's about humanity. And sometimes, the softest voice carries the deepest truth. In the end, Tim's mockery faded into the noise of 1,000 soundbites. But Jasmine's words, they echoed, long after the stage lights dimmed. And they will echo still. Let me know if you'd like this turned into a YouTube voiceover script or short film. Months after the debate, something surprising began to happen. Across the country, young people, especially students studying law, criminal justice, and social work, started quoting Jasmine Crockett's story. In classrooms from Detroit to Dublin, professors played her debate response as a lesson in dignity and moral leadership. Law students began organizing Defender Week events, highlighting the unsung work of public defenders. Jasmine was invited to speak at Harvard, Oxford, and even the United Nations. But the most unexpected shift. Tim Ramaswamy, now far from the cameras, showed up, unannounced, at a community center in Philadelphia. The very place he once mocked in campaign speeches. People recognized him, but this time, there were no microphones, no slick suits. Just Tim, quiet, humbled, and helping serve meals in the soup kitchen. When a local journalist approached him, Tim didn't deflect. He simply said, "I got caught up chasing applause. I forgot what public service is supposed to mean." Jasmine reminded me. Back in Dallas, Jasmine launched a mentorship program called The Next Defender. Its goal: train and support young lawyers from underserved communities to become public defenders. Malik became the program's first official mentor. In its first year, the program matched over 150 law students with mentors, some of them former clients turned advocates. One evening, Jasmine sat alone in her office, looking at a letter from a young girl named Amina. "Dear Ms. Crockett," it read, "I want to be like you. People say you don't belong in politics, but I think you belong everywhere." Tears welled in Jasmine's eyes. Not because she wanted praise, but because she realized the truth. Every act of compassion, every time she chose empathy over ego, every late night spent reading case files for clients who couldn't pay. It mattered. Years later, during her swearing in as a U.S. Senator, Jasmine stood on the Capitol steps. Malik was in the front row. Amina, now a law student, stood beside him. The crowd cheered, but Jasmine didn't raise her fists or flash a victory smile. Instead, she simply placed a hand over her heart. Because this moment wasn't just about winning an election. It was about earning trust. It was about showing the world that kindness isn't weakness. That defending the forgotten isn't naive. That mockery fades, but integrity lasts. We live in a world that often rewards noise, cruelty, and bravado. But this story reminds us. The quiet courage to stand for others, the strength to show grace when mocked, the patience to believe in someone when the world has given up on them. Those are the acts that truly change lives, and, sometimes, history. And in a time when politics feels more like theater than service, Jasmine Crockett proved that the most powerful thing you can be, is human.